Okay, so about a year ago I made a video about my top 14 most despised characters of Final Fantasy. And for the most part the video was silent, mainly just comments from other people about what characters that they disliked. But recently the video came to life with all of these comments, people going crazy about my choices. And of course you can imagine my reaction to that. See, this is how you can tell the difference between my generation of gamers compared to the current generation. My generation played video games for entertainment. The current generation think the virtual world is real. Square Enix gives people they can relate to always have will, but you should have titled this as your opinion, not as a whole. I'm gonna go on a whim and say that you did not watch the video, otherwise you would have seen this. And the wiki has great info, cause seriously, I don't see why Sarah is number 1 just cause we basically don't know much about her. Yeah, Lauren, here's a little storytelling 101 for you. Character investment and attachment happens during the actual story, not through research in Wikipedia after the story is over. And yes, more can be learned in the game's data log, but if that's the direction that Square Enix is going to be taking with their characters from now on, they clearly lost touch with what made their games great. I can see why Sakaguchi left. I find it funny how you complain about the whiny characters, yet all you did is whine and bitch about them. Well, it seems you're having trouble distinguishing the difference between frustration and whining and entertainment with critical thinking. You see, I make videos to entertain. I attempted to make fun at video game characters. Characters that don't actually exist. Everyone is treating these characters as if they were some friend they went to school with. So really, who's the one that's whining? Me or them? Everyone else is your standard kind of troll, so really they don't count. But that's what you expect with YouTube. Commenters have the collective IQ of a cup of yogurt, so really, I'm not surprised by the response I got from that video. So by all means, keep it up. By doing so, you're just proving my point that if you can't make fun of the things that you enjoy, you're playing these games for the wrong reasons. Do I like the characters I picked on? No. But I use exaggeration to enhance my dislike as a means of making fun of the people who take these games too seriously. Square Enix is not infallible. Not everything they make is a masterpiece. And thanks to the commenters, it's easy to tell who fell for it and who didn't. And a wise man in Seattle once said, I hate nerds. If you didn't want anything negative to be said about characters of Final Fantasy, why did you watch that video? You've seen that it had the word despise in the title. Really, what were you expecting? Or could it be that you secretly dislike some of the characters too? And that Square Enix isn't the RPG god that you once believed? So in a way, I've attracted some Square Enix atheists! Former believers who thought that these games are so wonderful, but throughout time they realized that the staff was only human, and seeing that the quality began to fall over time. Oh, you guys. But seriously, this video was a long time coming. I made a list about the characters from Final Fantasy that I did not like. That link is in the description if you wish to see it. So now I'm going to make a list of the characters that I do like. So sit back, relax, and this is Chibi Neko's top 14 favorite characters from Final Fantasy. Number 14. Realm from Final Fantasy VI. Wait a sec. Didn't I put her on my most despised list? Well, yes I did, but only because of the glitch she caused in the original print of the game. But I also mentioned I was able to put up with her quite well. The glitch was annoying, but her character, however, is a different story. While she may have a bratty exterior, she really is smart, funny, and she generally cares about her teammates, especially her grandfather. Even though she has an odd way of showing it, she's only 10. She has an excuse for her silly behavior. Certain other characters don't have that luxury. Number 13. Sazh from Final Fantasy XIII. Personally, I did not think the characters in Final Fantasy XIII were all that successful. Their personalities went from one extreme to having no personality at all. Shaz to me was the most human character of the game. He had a strong relationship with his son, strong sense of justice, and has an amazing sense of optimism no matter how hopeless a situation may be. He serves as comedy relief in a non-idiotic way. Well, almost. I hated Final Fantasy XIII, but seeing that it was able to produce at least one character I liked, then I'm willing to say that the game wasn't a lost cause. Number 12. Fran from Final Fantasy XII. Fran is just cool. Look at her. She's badass. Armed with a bow, has special senses, strong, a mechanic, and has an awesome voice.
On Leviathan, the mist released from the Dawn Shard drove me too into such a rage. She was taken not by the Dawn Shard.
Fran's contribution to the story of Final Fantasy XII, I'll admit, is minimal. She mainly serves as a companion to Balthier, but because of her mysterious background, you can't help but wonder what other significance she may have, and often keeps the player guessing. I like a character with mystery. It makes me strive to learn more about them. But whatever you do, don't piss her off. Number 11. Balthier from Final Fantasy XII. If Final Fantasy XII has a male protagonist, it would definitely be Balthier. He serves a purpose, unlike some characters. Balthier is charming, smart, and full of wit. He has a sense of adventure, humor, and loyalty. He cares a great deal about his friends, especially Fran. His involvement with the story is just as important as Ash, and like her, he is doing it as an outlaw, which makes the task all the more difficult. Ben may be young and stupid, but at least he has a good role model to look up to. Someone who has the strongest common sense I've seen in a video game. Despite his past, Balthier just keeps charging forward. Number 10. Ash from Final Fantasy XII. Ash is the female protagonist of Final Fantasy XII, and it shows. Her strong will keeps the game going. Her marriage during the prologue was obviously politically motivated, however, she and Raslar really did love each other, making his death all the more painful. After the fall of her kingdom, Ash goes into hiding under the guise of suicide, and must now fight to reclaim her throne. I admire her determination against all odds, and she is not putting herself first in any of these situations, but the well-being of her people and her kingdom. She's aware that their survival depends on her, and despite that kind of pressure, Ash never wavers from her responsibilities and duty. Number 9. Lulu from Final Fantasy X. I like Lulu. She is tough and no nonsense, but she does have a sense of humor, even though it is darker than the rest of the party. I don't know what it is about Wakka that draws her to him, but there must be something there, and I guess that adds to her appeal. She's able to see things that others cannot, and I don't think it's due to her powers as a black mage. She is highly intelligent and questions authority. Much to Wakka's dismay, she questions the Yevon religion on objective terms, which goes to show that she is very logical. Lulu may not be much of a fighter, but when it comes to the mind, she's a winner. Number 8. Garnet from Final Fantasy IX. I'll admit, Garnet played a lot into the cliché not wanting to be a princess persona, but that did not last long. It is clear that she is not happy in the castle, and she asserts that there is more to her than her role and appearance. Gee, with a mother that looks like that, who can blame her? While escaping, she encounters Zidane, and while her escape is almost thwarted, she demonstrates her ability to improvise. Garnet starts out as a naive girl due to her sheltered life in Alexandria, but grows thanks to Zidane's influence. In the outside world, she adopts the alias of Dagger, This alias has a life of its own, separating the strong woman from the naive princess. Even after the discovery that Garnet is not the actual princess of Alexandria, she still steps up to the plate and takes the responsibility of royalty, and will do anything to protect her kingdom and its people. Garnet clearly demonstrates that no matter what your status is, there's always room for growth. Number 7. Ferris from Final Fantasy V. How Ferris came to be is just cute. Some of the most humor I've seen in a 16-bit RPG. Bards and Golf encounter Ferris, the pirate captain, at first thinking of him to be a brash young man, and finding out to be a woman. This is just weird. When seeing Ferris asleep, Bart gets, heart-shaped? I was totally confused until the party attempted to draw themselves off in a ship, only to find out that Ferris is not as masculine as he appeared to be. I guess certain parts of the female anatomy can do that. Ferris is courageous, sometimes reckless, and is determined. She charts her own course and does not care what anyone else thinks of it. At the start of the journey, she is selfish and only joins the other light warriors for personal reasons rather than to save the world. She is brash, rude, and rough-spoken, but is a great leader, and will never give an order to her crew that she's not willing to do herself. She just proves that being a woman doesn't mean you have to be ladylike. Number 6. Edgar from Final Fantasy VI. I'll be honest, I did not think much of Edgar at first. He was just a kingly flirt. But as the game progressed, I began to see that there was far more to this god than what he was showing on the outside. Like Ash, he has a large sense of responsibility, taking his role as king very seriously, especially considering the sacrifices he made for that role. When his father died, his twin brother Sabin was angry that the people only cared about the succession and yearned for freedom. Edgar, knowing how things were not that simple, sacrificed his own freedom and gave it to Sabin with a coin toss. Played with a double-headed coin, showing that Edgar not only has a big heart, but is also quite cunning. As kind-hearted and happy-go-lucky he is, Edgar is a great king, a role that he did not aspire to obtain, but still does in great strides, and has a lot to show for it. And if that wasn't enough to convince you, he has a motherfucking chainsaw. Case closed. Number 5. Zack from Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I know, I'm kinda cheating on this one. Zack is not a playable character in Final Fantasy VII, but he's still very important. Throughout the game, we are seeing what we believe to be Cloud's story, but that is only partially the case. Cloud's identity as a member of Soldier is really Zack's. Zack is the kind of guy that will never let you down. He is easy to approach, and sometimes doesn't take his training too seriously. But when you're that skilled, you don't really have to. But he is very serious about achieving his goals and reaching his dreams. He wants to be a hero, but doesn't brag about it like you know who. But Zack quickly realizes that there is far more to being a hero than just being heroic. It's about responsibility, commitment, and even sacrifice. And while being a first-class soldier isn't always what it's cracked up to be, Zack still believes it is necessary to fulfill his goals. Zack is very strong, down-to-earth, smart, determined, and has a very strong will. It is no wonder Cloud looked up to him and went as far as emulating him. While Zack's appearance in Final Fantasy VII was short, his impact was huge, big enough that he got his own game and cult following. Not difficult to see why. Number 4. Aeris from Final Fantasy VII. Aeris is one of those characters that is really more than meets the eye. She seems innocent, but knows much more than what she lets on. She's a bit of an oddity and keeps her knowledge about the great scheme of things very vague. I always liked a character with a bit of mystery, so I guess that's what attracted me to her. Aeris is an example of what the nice girls of Final Fantasy should aspire to. She is kind and sweet without being disgusting. She doesn't leap around batting her eyes and squealing like a little schoolgirl. I'll admit, the way she would hit on Cloud would annoy me a bit, but with all things considered with Zack's past, it's kind of understandable, and it's her way of being playful without going overboard. Half the time I don't even think she was being serious, it was just her way of keeping things light. Aeris's role in this game was enormous. Being the last of her kind gave her abilities that no one else has, and even makes her largely sought after by the wrong people, which goes to show that her life isn't as nice as her brave face. But she still has the strength to persevere, and her sudden death had an impact in the gaming community that lasts to this day. It was even considered to be one of the most holy shit moments in video game history, and even generated one of the biggest myths of the genre. Even with the official statements from Square Enix stating that Aeris cannot be revived, there is still a small selection of people out there who insist that she can. While the revival would have been cool, I think the story is better with her dead. Makes everything else more powerful. Thanks to Aeris, people learned that good storytelling isn't just for books and the movies. For if a video game can make you cry, it proved that it too can be a good storytelling medium. Number 3. Celeste from Final Fantasy VI. Celeste had a life that I do not envy. She was born with a purpose. She was literally bred for war. She was genetically altered to use magic, taught military strategy from an early age, and brainwashed into the ideals of the Empire. When Celeste comes around to join the Returners, it is a slow transition. She comes off as cold to many of the other characters, with the exception of Terra and Locke. However, Celeste's loyalties are called into question later in the game when Kefka encounters the group in the Magitech factory, and even on the floating continent, Celeste remains loyal to the friends who truly care about her, choosing friendship over power that the Empire tries to offer her. This takes guts. Celeste really believed that what she was doing was right, and to find out that everything she stood for was a lie is not something that everyone is willing to embrace. Celeste had to rediscover herself, especially with the world gone to ruins. When she was on the verge of giving up, Celeste finds renewed hope in Locke, and starts over again by finding her allies who are now scattered across a shattered Earth. Celeste is strong, brave, and reserved, but not untouchable. She slowly lowers her guard to let people in, and everyone's delighted that there is more to her than the shield has often kept up, and even finds love. Number 2. Locke from Final Fantasy VI. Locke kinda reminds me of Zack. Very outgoing, adventurous, likable, but is very focused and dedicated to his goals. He seems to have this chivalry side to him that obligates him to keep his promises and protect women. This is due to a tragic past involving his lost love, Rachel. They would go on adventures together until an accident gave her amnesia. While Locke was heartbroken by this, he still took comfort in knowing that she was alive and well, until her death in an Imperial attack. Locke was haunted by his failure to protect her ever since. Locke likes to call himself a treasure hunter, but in reality he's a thief, and a good one at that, stealing some of the best items in the game to mugging people of their clothes. Locke is quite useful, but don't call him a thief, otherwise he will get violent. Happy on the outside, Locke is easy to approach, but hard to get to know, but not a complete mystery to those in his inner circle, like Edgar, whose friendship is quite entertaining. While Locke may be easygoing, just don't go on a boat trip with this guy. He just doesn't hold his dinner very well, if you know what I mean. And my number 1 favorite character from Final Fantasy is Terra from Final Fantasy VI. Terra is my favorite because out of all the games I played, she is the one that perhaps grows the most throughout the story. In the beginning of the game, she is just a mindless zombie until her slave crown is removed. She is then a blank slate, with no memories, with only escape on her mind. It is discovered that she was born half human and half Esper, and was raised by the Empire to be a soldier. Wait a sec, if she was raised in the Empire, why did she need the slave crown? Did she rebel? And for that matter, when Celeste rebelled, why didn't the Empire just use a slave crown on her? And, fuck it. Terra is rescued by Locke and is urged to join the rebel group, the Returners. She is scared, and rightfully so. She only has fragments of what is going on, being used by one side and now feels like she's being used by the others. She is timid and reluctant, but really what choice does she have but to trust them? Having her life saved by them meant that she had to go forward from that point. Learning about her past and mastering her abilities, Terra begins to desire what regular humans take for granted. Primarily, what is it to love someone? She finally discovers that love by caring for orphan children after the planet's destruction, and becomes much stronger. Terra was easy for me to get attached to because she is not only a mystery to the player, but to herself as well. Each experience, discovery, and personal situation is shared by both. When she is happy, we are happy. When she has a setback, we feel for her. She's what an effective character looks like, and not like this. It is because of that, Terra is my favorite character of Final Fantasy.